Hi, welcome to the ecosystem portion of Sonar Summit. My name is Jeff Clausen. I run our technology partnerships here at Sonar. I've had the good fortune of being in partnerships and strategic alliances for the past 30 years. And I've done everything from cloud partnerships to ISVs to integrators to resellers. But what I can tell you is I've never been as excited as I am about what we've got going on here with Sonar and with our partnerships. We've got so much interest from partners, from customers. The industry is moving in really interesting directions. And I'm excited to talk to you a little bit today about what we're doing, what we're building, and how this can benefit both our partners and our customers. So I joined Sonar a little over a year ago. And when I did, we had built some very one-directional partnerships where we built integrations with partners to make sure that we were inside the CI/CD pipelines that our customers were using, inside of the various IDEs, but we weren't doing a whole lot of collaboration back and forth between our partners. So I can't tell you how many conversations I had with partners in those early days where they said, hey, we reached out to Sonar, you told us you didn't have a partner program, but we are interested in doing more with you. And I said, hey, look, here I am, we're building a team around this, let's get going. And in the span of just that short year, we've really gone from 0 to 60, and we've built out a fantastic ecosystem of partners, many of whom you're going to hear from today. In fact, I told this story about these partners and what they told me to Daphne Diane, who is the head of partners and ecosystems over at Wiz, and she said, "Yep, we were one of those companies." And I'm excited to say that we're heading down a path on a great partnership with Wiz that you'll hear more about in the not too distant future. But today it's really about these 14 partners, the ones that have spent the time building out these integrations. They're really the stars. I'm setting the stage here, and I hope that you have the chance to sit down and listen to what they have to say. So why does all this matter right now? Why do we care about this, these partnerships, these integrations? It's because the way the code is getting developed today has fundamentally changed. What has traditionally been a very deterministic model, where developers sit down, they spend weeks, months planning it out, building it and developing, is turning into a very non-deterministic model with all these AI tools that are being leveraged. AI is able to generate code in milliseconds, whereas humans, it takes minutes, hours, weeks to develop, and just that long to verify and validate that code. And the problem is that speed that we're seeing from the AI development tools is happening at such a rate that we're creating tremendous scales of technical debt by not being able to verify and validate that code. So how do we continue to move at this speed? What are we going to do about it? We need to embrace this speed, but we need to make sure that verification keeps up. So you've probably seen this many times. Sonar talks about vibe, then verify. We want to make sure that you continue to embrace the speed at which tools are being developed, at which AI is enabling us to create code. But we need to make sure that verification continues throughout the process. And this is really where Sonar's ecosystem comes into play. You customers, we are making sure that Sonar sits inside the whole ecosystem of products, whether it's on the IDE side, the pipeline side, or the governance side. Leveraging those different tools, you have access to the Sonar findings natively inside those applications due to these integrations that we are building with our partners. You don't have to flip from one application to the other. You don't have to change context. It all lives right within there. That's one of the key things that we want to make sure that we build, is that seamless experience for you as a customer. Partners, you're the distribution layer for this trust. Look, every integration that you build, it extends the reach of verified code. You take Sonar's intelligence and you put it exactly where your developers need it. And then for those AI teams, this creates a set of guardrails for you and gives you the confidence to continue to move at speed without having to pump the brakes, knowing that this is being validated and verified real time, and that code that you're sending out is not going to be riddled with issues and security holes. We've effectively created a plug and play with Sonar's MCP and APIs for partners to create these integrations that are seamlessly accessible for our customers. And look, I know that this sounds great in concept, but let me show you how it looks in practice. So all of this starts at the IDE. You're starting with your planning, building, all your tooling. We have built, using our MCP server, Sonar Cube into all of the AI generation models, whether it's Cursor, Windsurf, anti-gravity. You can use Sonar inside of all of those tools via the MCP server. So let's say that you're using Claude Code. It creates a snippet that's completely unsanitized, and it puts a SQL injection risk into your code. It looks clean to you, but Sonar, an agent maybe that's running Sonar and keeping track of things, it'll flag that inside the IDE and correct it before you commit it. Don't have to switch context. And we are currently working with all of the latest development tools, whether it's anti-gravity, Cursor, VS Code, Claude Code, Windsurf, Devon. We are there regardless of which tools you are using. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the next step. So IDE is the first line, but your code will move through a pipeline. One of the first partnerships that we established when I joined Sonar was with JFrog. They came to us and said, hey, we are building out our tool called Artifactory. And we see Sonar as a critical piece of this. Because Sonar, we secure things at the code level, and JFrog secures things at the binary level. It was a great meeting of the minds together to be able to provide a code to deployment type of solution. So we worked very closely with JFrog. Our development teams got together. We leveraged the APIs and built a very seamless integration that allows for that Sonar to verify the code. JFrog then verifies the artifact. And together they create a trust chain from development all the way through deployment. And even more, Sonar Cube analysis evidence flows directly into the JFrog App Trust so that the security and DevOps team can see the trust score of every artifact without even leaving JFrog's platform. So it's all integrated there, makes it seamless and easy to use for you as a customer. Now, look, I'm not a JFrog expert. You can expect to hear more from them during one of the sessions, and I'd encourage you to watch and hear what they have to say about security in today's AI development world. So Sonar wants to make sure that we are inside all of the different tools that you're using across the SDLC. We talked about the IDE, how we're inside the IDE, Cursor, VS Code, Windsurf, anti-gravity. We are also inside of all those pipeline tools that you're going to be leveraging, either via API calls or MCP server, GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. And then finally, one of the things that we're seeing a lot of interest in from partners is on the governance side. We've had a large number of partners come to us and say, hey, our customers are asking for us to integrate Sonar into our governance platform. So we've been working very closely with the likes of Wiz, with Dynatrace, Jellyfish, and many others. And I'm highlighting those that you're going to hear about today. But we have a very long list of dozens of partners, and it's going to be expanding even farther who have created integrations. You can find more about that on our website. But this allows us to be able to be that glue inside of all of these applications for the verification and validation of all of your code. So regardless of what tool you're using, you can rely on Sonar to be able to validate and verify all that code at the various stages of your development lifecycle. And that workflow exists because of the investment we've made in how partners connect with Sonar. But that's continuing to change and evolve, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about what we've got going. The market's in the midst of a strategic shift. AI is forcing us all to look at things differently. The way that we develop code is a lot different. It's creating tremendous technical debt if it's not verified and validated at the front end. We're going to continue to focus on building integrations with our APIs. These bidirectional syncs with CI/CD platforms, we're going to continue to augment those APIs, and partners are going to continue to go deep with Sonar with those APIs. However, we need to start moving quickly. Sonar recently released our MCP server, and it's live. It's being leveraged by a large number of our customers and a large number of our partners, including Microsoft, Google, Cognition, and many others. It's widely available and solves a lot of these problems that are required to go quicker, but to be able to validate and verify real time. It's with the MCP that we really are able to scale this out, to increase the number of partners that we have creating these integrations, to create the usefulness, or to create a more useful environment for Sonar. Let me share an example that my development team brought to me recently. As I mentioned, we're trying to figure out how to make MCP a rapid development process for creating these integrations. In 2 days, they built what took them literally 3 weeks to build previous. What they did is they showed me one of these agentic AI development tools. I don't remember if it was Cursor or anti-gravity. In any case, the AI agent went and it built some code. Sonar then flagged that in real time, leveraging the MCP server. There was a message that was then generated in Slack and sent that to Jira. Jira then wrote a ticket for that. A Claude agent was watching for those tickets to be generated. It went out, captured that ticket, fixed the issue, sent a message back to Slack, said it was fixed, and all this was done hands off. Once again, built this in a couple of days, but this is the real power that this agentic framework fixes for all of us. But what I wanted to point out is Sonar sits there at the middle of that. We don't just have a one-to-one relationship with these partners. We're able to sit across this whole development lifecycle, and wherever you are in it, whether it's agentic or human run, we're able to ensure that that verification and validation happens regardless of where you are inside of that cycle. So let's talk a little bit about the ecosystem that you're going to hear from today. I've grouped these into 3 different categories because development happens at multiple different stages. The first is that ideation stage where you're going in, you're planning, you're creating your requirements document. Many of us are using Claude Code to do that. You're going to be able to hear from Anthropic and their vision of this AI future and what it means for development. Similarly, we've been working very closely with OpenAI. They too have a tremendous vision, as does Google. I'd encourage you to listen to all of these and hear how that can apply to your development journey. And then the other one I wanted to point out was CoreStory. CoreStory has built a tool that allows you to take your existing legacy code and rapidly build a spec for it, and using AI, take that and build and refactor it into a new platform. The other partners that we have coming up are on that execution side. You already hear me talk about JFrog and the Artifactory story and the integration that we've built with them. GitHub and GitLab have each their unique insights on what they're doing in this agentic and AI development space. Atlassian, Accenture, Cortex, all 3 of them are key partners for us, and we see them as critical to our success and the success of our partners as you leverage their tools to do your governance and application development and management. And then finally, you're going to be able to hear from Wiz, Dynatrace, Jellyfish, and Ubea, who built tools that allow you to expose those issues that Sonar is raising up through your developers, management, and see a 360-degree view of what's happening inside of your environment. So, look, you're here to listen to them. I just wanted to set the stage to make sure that you could get excited about what we're building. If you have any applications as customers that you're working with where you'd like to see a better integration with Sonar, please reach out and let us know. And partners, those of you that want to build a deeper integration with us or don't have one yet, we also encourage you to reach out, and we'd love to build an integration with you and create that partnership. So here's my key takeaway for today. Continue to vibe, but also make sure you verify. But don't just focus on speed alone. Make sure you build for the trust that makes the speed sustainable. Verify that code and validate it throughout the process. That's what we're building with this ecosystem. A clean, succinct process whereby Sonar can be available wherever you are in that process and with whatever tool you're leveraging. Look, we've got a lot of great companies here that are building fantastic tools. But in order for this to be a trusted platform and ecosystem, we need to continue to verify that code together. From the first line to the very final deployment, this ecosystem is going to be critical to our success, to our partner success, and to our customer success as we continue to build together in this environment that continues to rapidly change. Thanks again for joining us for Sonar Summit. We're excited about the content that we've provided. I'm so happy and grateful for the partners and the time that they've put into this. I think you'll find their content extremely valuable. Take the time to listen to it, either live or recorded. And feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. And once again, thanks for joining us.